So you're thinking about moving to Pensacola? Well, in this video, I'm gonna give you a few pros and cons about living in this area. We're actually stepping up our game. We are now recording with the GoPro Hero 8, and today we're actually using the Rotary Go, so hopefully these videos get even better and better. You know, Pensacola is such a great area, and there's so much that this place has to offer. But you know, if you're anything like me, before I moved here, I never even really heard of Pensacola. Now, obviously, the #1 pro of living in Pensacola is the beaches. We have probably some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. We have that emerald green water, we have sugar white sand beaches. And the cool thing is, really no matter where you live, you're a pretty short drive to the beach. So I live in Pensacola, and how Pensacola Beach is, it's a barrier island. So you actually have to go from Pensacola Beach, you have to go over a bridge to Gulf Breeze, and then from Gulf Breeze, another bridge into Pensacola. If you live in Gulf Breeze, you just go over one bridge and onto the beach. But our beaches here are unbelievable. No matter if it's the wintertime or the summertime, the water is awesome. If you like to scuba dive or snorkel, there's a lot of great spots. They have some awesome man-made snorkeling spots. So if you don't dive, that you can actually get to. And the surfing, it's not always great, but when it is good, it's fun. You know, I grew up surfing and all that kind of stuff in San Diego. It's a completely different style here. They're short, they're fast, they're not as powerful as they are like in San Diego, but they are fun, especially longboard. Man, you have a lot of longboard days out here. So the beaches are the #1 reason to make this place your home. And I think the #2 plus than the pro for me about living in Pensacola is downtown. Downtown Pensacola is awesome. There is so much to do. There's so many restaurants and bars. It's a few blocks long, and you could just walk and go from restaurant to bar to art gallery. There's shopping. You know, when you go to some big cities, downtown is just so big, you almost can't get to it all. So I think downtown Pensacola is super, super awesome. And like I said, and the other thing is when we have gallery night, man, it really makes downtown Pensacola shine. So downtown Pensacola is a major plus in my book. Yeah, I've mentioned this before, but I think another thing that I love about this area that I think is a major pro is the location to things. You know, even though Pensacola in this area is a smaller town, you have some really large cities that are within, you know, a short drive. You have New Orleans, you have Atlanta, Jacksonville, the Carolinas, Tampa. There's short flights all over. So the location to so many different things is awesome. And I feel that that's a huge plus because I love to travel, no matter if it's just, you know, on a short little weekend trip to Nashville, or if you want to go to New Orleans in just a couple hours, you can be on Bourbon Street having fun. If you want to go to a Saints game, if you want to go to a Falcons game, if you want to go to a United, which is the Atlanta soccer team. So there's so many things to do, but you still have that small town feel by living here, because there's only about 600,000 people that live in Escambia and Santa Rosa County. So location, location, location is a major plus. So one pro, and one of the things I love about this area is this is an outdoor community. There is so many festivals, so many events. There's everything from a seafood festival, a crawfish festival. There's downtown, they block off and they have gallery night outside of the COVID thing, which is really, really cool. There's just blocks and blocks that are all blocked off, and you can walk around and there's vendors and there's music. There's triathlons, there's marathons, there's a thing called the double bridge run, and they just redid the 3-mile bridge, which is awesome. They're putting it's like a $400 million bridge, but it's pretty cool because you run from Pensacola over one bridge, through Gulf Breeze, over the Pensacola Beach Bridge, and then end in Pensacola Beach. So the outdoor living here is awesome, and I think that's one of the biggest pros that I love. So another big plus is this is such a pet-friendly, kid-friendly area. You know, everybody's got kids or fur babies, as a lot of people call them. And, you know, from the dog beaches to the dog parks, you know, this community is very pet-friendly. You know, people have their dogs everywhere. Most places allow them to not necessarily come in, but they got bowls outside so they can drink, you can eat. The dog beaches are cool. There's tons of dog parks. We actually live over by Bayview Park. There's 2 dog parks and a dog beach there that is right on Bayou Tahar. So if you're a fur baby person, then this is an awesome pet-friendly area. You can also throw them on the boat, go out to the beach, go to, there's tons of places for your fur babies. Now, I'll tell you, every city has their pros and their cons, but I'll tell you, this place doesn't have that many things that are wrong with it. And it's hard to believe, but so some of these are a stretch, so you gotta bear with me. But one of them, and I think this is probably the number one, is the weather, right? It can get hot here. It does get hot here. Now, this is not like South Florida where it gets super, super humid, but it does get hot. But hey, I'm originally from the desert, so anything outside of Phoenix, I think, is much more bearable than the Phoenix summertime, because that is just way too hot. But if I had to say, as a negative, probably the number one would be the hot weather. So I would think my number 2 con about this area is parking. You know, unlike big cities where you have tons of parking, you know, you have garages, you have tons of on-street parking. There's not that much parking here. So if you're downtown, we only have 1 little parking garage, well, 2, but they need to get more parking. So I think if you had to find a negative, I think parking would probably be one, especially when it comes to large events, right? When we talked about all those festivals that we have, you know, parking when it comes to the beach, things like that, it's just, you know, it becomes a pain. So I would say parking would be my number 2 con about this area. All right, like I said, these are all stretches here, folks. There's not that many cons of this living in this beautiful little slice of paradise. But if you're a foodie, like me, I love to go out, and I think there's tons and tons of restaurants here. But if you're somebody that wants a ton of the bunch of different restaurants, different ethnicities and things like that, you're not gonna get that here, right? You know, you're not gonna find an Ethiopian restaurant. You're not gonna find tons of Indian food restaurants. We have some great Mediterranean. We have some great Southern restaurants. We have some great restaurants that do all American food. You know, me being from Phoenix originally, you know, I'm a kind of a snob when it comes to my Mexican food. So there's some great little Mexican restaurants here, but I don't think any of them really hold a candle to what Phoenix or San Diego has when it comes to Mexican food. But the restaurant scene here is awesome. But if you're looking for a different style ethnicity food every night, you're not gonna get that here. So I think probably the last thing that I could really think of that I would say is a con about living here is traffic when it comes to you know, the summer and when it comes to peak season here. This is a tourist city, so when it comes, you know, to the summertime and we have a lot of people vacationing, traffic can get bad. And that is one thing I wish that they would do eventually, is make it a little bit easier to get to the beaches. But right, I mean, it's kind of hard to do. You'd have to like go underwater and they'd have to build like a little underwater tunnel thing or something. But they have, you know, they did start some ferries, which get you from downtown Pensacola to Pensacola Beach, which is pretty awesome. But in there, when it is busy season here, traffic is nasty. You know, but hey, it is what it is. If you plan accordingly, or if you get a boat, it's much easier to get to the beach, Fort McRae, all those places by boat, and you don't have to worry about sitting in traffic. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this video of the thumbs up and the thumbs down about living in Pensacola and in this area. Hopefully you found this informative. 850-637-8622 is how you get me on the telefono. Shoot me a text, whatever. But hey, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you didn't already, make sure you like, subscribe, because we're putting out content all the time to make sure that you get all the information you need about moving here to Pensacola Beach and the Emerald Coast. Later.